this is Heather Sides. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spokane, Washington. I come to you every Wednesday night with 3 projects, usually cards, and I show you how I made them so that you can make them yourself, or you can make something similar just to spark some ideas in your head. So while we're waiting for people to get on and find me, I'm going to take a moment here to pull this up on my computer so that I can make sure to see your comments. And I can't find my mouse. My cursor. Don't you hate that? I have multiple monitors, and so the cursor's on one monitor and I'm spinning my trackball around and I can't find the cursor. I know. I live a really, really painful life. Okay, so let's see what we got going on today. Okay, it's not showing up yet. So how are all of you guys tonight? Have you guys had a good week? Did anybody do anything fun or special for Valentine's Day? I did not. I came home from work and I did some stamping, and then I went to bed and laid there awake all night long. So, but that's kind of what I tend to do, I guess. So let's see, why is this not coming up? Let's see. Oh, there we go. I found me. Okay. Make sure it's on mute so that I don't have to hear myself talk. And I can see all your comments. Hello, Kathy. Hey, Judy. Welcome. So let's see. What have we got going on this week? Nothing really exciting. I get to work from home all week next week, which is nice. I am babysitting my boss's dog, who, this poor thing, I feel so bad for her. She is a 14-year-old miniature dachshund. And I used to raise miniature dachshunds, so I love mini dachshunds. She, like I said, is 14. And you know, dogs as they get older, especially small ones, get a bit on the cranky side, which I think they have every right to be. And then I have my big old golden ball of fluff, who has a bit of energy and really desperately wants to play with Ruby. That's the dachshund. And Ruby does not have any interest in playing with her. And Lucy's way of playing is to jump on you and maul you and, you know, make you uncomfortable, basically. And so poor Ruby is not fond of Lucy at all. And as much as I love Lucy, I really can't blame her because Lucy does not take a hint. So when Ruby tells her to go away, she doesn't. So we're going to be watching her for about 10 days. So I feel so bad for Ruby, but you know, we try to make sure that we try to keep them separated just so that Lucy doesn't drive Ruby crazy. So we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to think. Hey, Sharon, welcome. Mary, welcome. Jennifer, welcome. So everybody's starting to pop in. I've got some fun cards for you guys tonight. Remember, the end of celebration is just around the corner, everybody. There are now about 20 gifts, I think, in the 20-ish range that you can choose from for every $50 you spend. And there is no limit to how many of the gifts you can earn. So spend away. And I would love to earn your business. You can shop on my online store. When I flip the camera around, you can see my website. And you can just go right there and do your shopping. I put a post up last week on Facebook about how I'm really close to reaching a goal that I had for myself. And some of you answered the call, and I want you to know how much I really, really appreciate that. That's helping get me closer to my goal. I'm really trying to, at this point, really get things up and running with my business so that, you know, I can kind of view it as an additional source of income and help support my own habit as well. So thank you to those of you who have placed orders in the last week or so, and thank you to those of you who are planning to and just haven't yet. But make sure that you take advantage of the celebration special. Also want to remind you about joining Stampin' Up! If it's something you've ever considered, now is by far the best time to do it because it's always our best deal. Normally pay $99, you get $125 of products of your choice. And then you also get a free paper pumpkin kit. You get some catalogs and things like that. You get free shipping on your kit. And you get to do with it what you want. If you want to try to turn it into a business, you can. If you want to just support your own habit, you can. And if you're just wanting to get the kit, you can do that too. Stampin' Up! Supports any of those endeavors. So if it's something that you have thought about in the past, there is absolutely nothing to lose right now by signing up, especially because the kit is even better right now during Celebration. Let me tell you about it. It is, you can get the $99 kit, the normal regular kit, or for just $30 more, you can pay $129 and get $175 worth of products of your choice. And then in addition to that, you also get one of our mini cutting and embossing machines. And you can choose between a white one and one that is a really pretty color called boho blue. It's kind of a darker cornflower blue sort of, but $129, and you're getting well over $100 worth of free products above what you've paid for. And it's all products of your choice. So definitely a good time to just bite the bullet and give it a whirl. If you have questions about that, you want to know a little bit more, you can look on my website and find information, or you can contact me. You can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or here on Facebook, send me a private message, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I want to encourage all of you guys to participate in conversation today. Whether you are just popping in, you just say hello and tell me where you're from. Be sure to tell me where you're from. I love hearing how far out I'm reaching people. I love that. Last week, Xana was here. She was from the UK, so that was kind of exciting. And she shared the video with some friends so that maybe some of them would join us as well. So that does help me out, by the way, when you share the video, that you just never know who might be interested. And so you put it out there and share it, and it just helps get me out there to people. But anyway, back to participating in conversation. Whether you just say hello, tell me where you're from, or participate with one another, talk to one another, answer questions, ask questions, talk to me, any of that, your name will go into a drawing for a prize that I'll give away next week. So whether you're watching a replay on YouTube or here on Facebook, or whether you're joining us here live tonight, as long as you participate in one way or the other, then your name will go into the drawing for next week's prize. So with that being said, let's turn the camera around and I'll tell you a little bit about, we'll talk about who won the prize this week for last week's conversation participation. And I'll show you what she's getting, and then we'll get going on our cards. How's that sound? Okay, let's get going. It looks like we've got a few more people who have joined us. Let's see, John's joined us, and Teresa and Robin. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let's see. I guess I don't need my trackball for this, do I? Okay. Cheryl has joined us. So awesome. Let's see here. Sharon is in Bellingham, Washington, over by where I used to live. Susan just joined us. Welcome, Susan. Okay, so tonight's prize is kind of fun. I just put together a little bit of a kit, and it's got some of the paper from a suite that we had a little while ago, and it's called Snail Mail, and the stamp set, I think, was called Snailed It. But it is the cutest paper with these little snails, and I don't want you to see the address. I have the winner's address on here, but it's just got some really cute designer series paper, and you've got 4 6x6 sheets of 6 different patterns, so 24 6x6 sheets. There's also 3 yards of pink baker's twine, and then you can kind of see, hope you can see that through the kind of the reflection, but there's white and red little heart embellishments. So this would be kind of fun to do something with, even if you don't have this stamp set. It's such an adorable set of paper. So this week's winner, want to cover this. I have her address here. Is Kathy Zaramba. I know she's on here. I saw her. So congratulations, Kathy. I'll get this out in the mail to you right away. Speaking of getting things out in the mail, I finally, I had a backlog of prizes I needed to get out, and I got them out last week. Maybe they went out on Saturday. Maybe they went out Monday. Anyway, if you haven't gotten yours yet, if you were waiting on something and you haven't gotten it yet, you should be getting it any time now, because I did put it in the mail. Oh, good. Kathy says it just gave her an idea for her daughter-in-law's birthday. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This first card that we're making tonight, I'm using the Hello Ladybug stamp set. I'm also using the Biggest Wish set. I love this set, and I haven't used it in a long time, so I thought that it would be fun to bring it back out. And then I'm using the stitched rectangle dies. So let me show you what we're making. Move some of this over there. And we're going to be using the Designer Series paper. Holy cow, what's it called? Hang on. Goodness gracious, I don't know where my pack of it went, so I can't even think of what it's called. But now it's going to bug me, so of course I have to look it up and tell you, because I love this paper. It is so fun and so pretty. Let's see here. And it is on page, it's Regency Park. It is on page 31, it looks like, of the mini catalog. So let's take a quick peek at it, because I'd love to be able to show you the paper, but since I don't know where mine went, we'll do it this way. So anyway, it's this pack of paper. Comes in, it's part of a suite. Let me show, I guess I should open this up. Some really beautiful stamps. It also, the suite has a punch that punches out the flowers. Some of the flowers that are in the DSP, it punches out. It also punches out the stamped images. There's some really fun, milky dots, adhesive dots, and some really pretty ribbon that we're going to use tonight. So that's a fun suite. By the way, I want to tell you something different that I'm going to... Oh, Xana's back this week. Welcome. I want to tell you something different I'm going to start doing starting next week. I didn't have time to do it this week, but I'm hoping it'll help you out a little bit. On my YouTube video, I'll try to do it on my Facebook one as well, but at the very least, where I upload it to YouTube, in the comments section or the area down below the video, I'm going to include a shopping list so you can see which products I used. I'm going to try maybe to include measurements as well, but at the very least, it's going to include the list of the products that I use on each project, so that you kind of got an idea of what to get if you're wanting to either make that exact card, or you just really liked the products and want to make something of your own. So let's go ahead and get started with this adorable little happy birthday card. There's the inside of it, and of course our matching envelope. So we'll get started here. We'll start with the envelope. And on this one, we're just gonna glue a strip of the Designer Series paper onto our envelope flap. And I'm gonna put on my glasses because I think it's important that I should be able to see. Okay, my eyes are getting old and it's just really sad, right? And Jennifer looks like she likes the idea of having measurements. I did have someone ask me a couple weeks ago about doing that. So I'm really trying, as I make them on the lives here, to also tell you the measurements as we go along. But it's a new habit for me, so bear with me, and you can always ask at any point too. So, okay, I had a little glue stuck in my... Yeah, there's some glue stuck in there. And if I squeeze too hard, all of a sudden it's all gonna come rushing out. There we go, I just got the little glue booger out. Marsha's here from Texas. Welcome, Marsha. Okay. Oh, Lucy, honey, you are just fine. Lucy's a little stinker these days, and she likes to get into stuff, especially when she knows that mommy is otherwise occupied. So I put her in her crate with her dinner and her little bone that is filled with peanut butter and a chew toy. So she has like a great little setup in there. But of course she wants to be out where I am so that she can get into stuff. Okay, so the strip here that I put on here, I just cut a strip that's 2.5 inches by 6 inches, and it's a little bit bigger than what I need. For me, I would rather have it be a little bit big than have it just be just the right size, because then you have to really pay attention and make sure you're getting it on there just right and all that stuff. And so I just make it a little easier on myself by cutting myself a piece that's a little bit bigger than what I need. So now we'll cut off the extra here. Oh, Lucy, sweetie pie, you are just fine. Okay, so we've got our envelope done. We'll set that aside and let that glue dry while we make our card. Trying to throw away some of the pieces of scraps as we go. So our card base is your standard card base. It's 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. That's a half of a sheet, and it's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So Xana says her friend needs the measurements. She can't do it without. You know, it's funny. I am very precise about, I have to at least measure as I'm going, so that like if I create mats and things like that, then I can make sure that the mats are just the right size and, you know, all that good stuff. There are some demonstrators out there that just eyeball it and do a great job, by the way. I couldn't do that. It would drive me crazy, and I would spend all night trimming here and trimming there and trying to even it up and then having to start over. And yeah, I would just be a big old problem to myself. Okay, so let's start with the inside of our card. And so for the inside, I have this piece this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And we're gonna just take, I have these 2 strips, one of our designer series paper and one of some balmy blue. And let's go ahead and glue these together, and then we're gonna glue them onto our sheet of basic white. So just a little bit of glue, you don't need a whole lot. Whoop. Let's see, and line this up. I like to use the liquid glue so that I've got a little bit of wiggle room, so that I can kind of scooch it around a little bit if I need to make sure that it's centered as best as I can get it anyway. Then we're gonna go ahead and glue that on to our card, or onto our little piece anyway. And let's put it right there. We'll leave a little bit of a white edge there. See how I've done just a little bit of an edge? And we'll trim off the extra. And now let's go ahead and adhere this to the inside of our card. And this card is going to actually go this way. Okay, line it up, try to get your margins as close to the same as you can. Okay, now we're gonna start working on our card front. So we've got another piece, we've got 2 pieces here, basic white and the balmy blue. The balmy blue is the same size as that inside white piece. It's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then just slightly smaller, I have the basic white, and it is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So let's start with our white piece. Move my glue out of the way for the moment. And we're gonna use the balmy blue ink as well as our Night of Navy. And let's get our stamps together here. We've got a birthday and a happy, and we have some flowers. The flowers are from the Hello Ladybug set. So let's start with our balmy blue, maybe. Okay, and I am just going to take the flowers, whoops, and just kind of put them all over the place here. And if you are doing a piece like this, where you're just putting them everywhere, make sure you go off of your edges. It just creates some flow, some natural flow to your card when you do that. And there we go. All right, now I'm gonna clean off my stand. I'm really wiggling the table tonight, aren't I? I'm kind of out of control. Now we're also going to do a little bit of stamping on the little rectangle that I cut out using my stitched rectangle dies. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take the balmy blue and the word happy. I'm going to stamp that right in the middle of our tag or our rectangle. There we go. A little bit crooked. Darn it. And then let's put away that balmy blue ink because we're done with it. And now I'm going to open up my Night of Navy. And I'm going to stamp it at an angle right over the word happy. There, just like that. Okay, now we're ready to just put this card together. What do you think of that? How easy is that, right? So we're going to start by going ahead and gluing this piece down. And there's only about a 1/16 of an inch margin all the way around. I like to do these really thin margins. It makes it so it doesn't kind of take over the card, but it does, what am I trying to say? It makes it pop a little bit. Xana says she aims and prays when it comes to, I assume, the sizing things. But I'm seeing a lot of other people who are saying that they have to have measurements too. Okay, now it looks like Sharon is saying I'm cutting in and out. So to do that ahead of time, and I forgot tonight, so I just turned it off. So that should help. You're absolutely welcome, Robin. I'm sorry it took me so long to get that paper pumpkin kit back to you. Let's see. Okay, now I have my piece of designer series paper here, and we're just going to put it right along the middle. There's something sticking out here. Okay, so putting it right down the middle, and I'm lining it up with the basic white, not with the blue. My house is a duplex. My neighbors downstairs got a new puppy a couple weeks ago, and she is barking. She doesn't sound very happy right now. She's adorable. Okay, so we've got that part done. You know what? Let's go ahead and glue it to our card. And then, usually I put the embellishments on last, but let's go ahead and do them now. I'm going to use the Glossy Dots assortment. They come in some really fun, bright colors, and boy, they are really sparkly. I love these. And we're going to take the yellow ones and do the centers of our flowers. So let's see here. On the large flower in the trio, I'm using the medium-sized circle. So let's just go ahead and put those on right now. And then I'm going to use the smaller dots. I may need to open my other pack because I'll need more of the small ones on the smaller flowers. Okay, let's open this other pack here. But aren't these pretty? Just these fun, vibrant colors. I love them. Okay, let's put more of these little guys on here. Oops. Okay, so we've got all those on. You know what? I wonder if there's enough of this flower here to put that one on. Yeah, it looks kind of, it's okay. It's okay. Just looks weird without it. Okay, so let's put these away. Now, we're gonna take our rectangle that we stamped on, and then I have a little blue one that is about 1/8 of an inch bigger. You know, I honestly, let's see what the measurements are. These rectangles are weird measurements. So it was about 2 7/8 by, let's see, 2 7/8? I'm sorry, 2 3/4 by 1 3/8. And so then I just did 1 1/2 by 3. I just wanted it slightly bigger to create just a little tiny bit of a mat there. So let's go ahead and glue that baby down. Just like so. Now I have a little tiny strip of ribbon here. Isn't this pretty? I like how it looks kind of like denim sort of in the middle, but then it's shiny on the outer edges. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna, actually first let's get a piece of tear and tape to hold it down in the back. Okay, I'm gonna fold this in half in kind of a V like that and figure out about where I want it. And then I'm going to take my tear and tape to hold it in place, just like that. Then we're going to take, you can use dimensionals. I'm going to use a piece of my foam adhesive sheets just because I like them. They're nice and easy to use. Oops. And I'm just putting it right there on the back. And it also holds that ribbon in place. And then we're just going to put it right about here on the front of the card. And our card is done. How easy was that, you guys? So there we go. Robin, you are so sweet. Okay, so card number 1 is done. Nice and quick, right? All right, let's clean up a little bit and get going on card number 2. I can't say enough good, fun things about that suite of products. It really is a fun suite. Okay, so the next card we're going to make, we're going to use the Beautifully Happy stamps. These are one of the celebration gifts that you can choose for free with a purchase now through the end of February during celebration. I think you have to have a $100 purchase to get this one though. And then we're also going to use the gingham embossing folder. And then the framed florets dies. These are kind of neat. They come with quite a few. You've got these oval frames. There's a stamp set that coordinates with it, and these cut out the flowers. And then there's a few more ovals and some greenery. It's a really nice die set. And then we're also using the tailor-made tags. All right, so for this one, get started on our envelope. moving stuff out of the way here. And this one we're going to stamp on the envelope. Let me show you the card. Isn't that kind of fun? Just simple and pretty. And there's the inside. Now this stamp set is uses a technique called two-step stamping. Let me show you what that means. It comes with stamps like this that are the outline, and you can just stamp this and leave it as is. You can color it in with markers, or you can use these stamps here to fill in the color. And there's different stamps for the leaves, different stamps for the flowers, which you're going to see when we do it tonight, because I'm filling it in using these. And these are kind of neat stamps. You can see a little bit in the picture how it's got that shading. That's actually the design of the stamp. So you'll see we get that shading just automatically from stamping it. We don't have to do anything fancy to get that shading. So we'll start with our envelope here. And I'm going to put a little piece of scrap paper under the flap. Let's get out the stamps we're going to need. This one uses quite a few different stamps just because we've got the outlines and we've got the fill-in stamps and lots of stuff going on with this one. It doesn't take a long time. It's just that there's a lot of stamps that we're going to be using. A lot of pieces get filled in. Okay, so now for the envelope, we're going to use this. This is actually the stamp that's intended to fill in that part, which we're going to do on the inside of the card. But for the envelope, we're just using this piece. Let me show you what colors we're going to use tonight too. I've got a few colors going on. I've got the Early Espresso, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, and Pear Pizzazz. It is a really fun set, Teresa. I love it. Okay, so let's start with our Calypso Coral. Move some stuff out of the way here. Marcia asked, could I show my country card again? The first one that I did, you mean? Yeah, I can show this. This one with the envelope. And then also, just so that you know, afterward, I do post these on my Facebook page. I also post them on Pinterest and Instagram, so you can see pictures, a little bit better pictures of them when I'm all done. And I usually have them posted that night. John says he's used this set quite a bit. Oh, good. Okay, so we're just going to stamp these little flowers all over. Make sure you do them in all sorts of different directions. Just, oh, I don't like how that turned out. Now, the nice thing is with these stamps that you can see through, like this, you can line it up and re-stamp it if you want. Let's see if I can line it up right. Better than nothing, I guess, right? Okay, so now, clean off that stamp. Well, I don't know why I'm cleaning it off. I'm just going to need it again in a minute, but that's okay. And then I have this little stamp. Let me find the right one. This little one that is for the inside. And actually, you know what? I did the wrong. I ran out of little blocks. So what I did is I used two sides of this one and then just the one side for this one. Okay, let's try this again. So now, actually I'll leave it open because I'm just going to reuse it in a minute. I'm going to take my crushed curry to do the centers of those flowers. And so I just line it up. You can see right where you're stamping, which is nice. I'm getting ink all over the block. I'm going to wipe some of that off. There we go. That is one thing about little tiny stamps like this. It's really easy to get ink all over your block, and then you end up getting it on your card. Okay. Whoops. Okay. These little ones, they do come off really easily when you're cleaning your stamp. So do be careful of that. It's still kind of wet. Because it's so easy to lose them because they're so tiny and they just wipe off the block so easily when you're cleaning them. So just be careful. It's stuck It's stuck. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've got our envelope done. I got a little bit of little blobs there, but I can clean that up with my sand eraser later if I want. Let's put the ink pad right there for now. Okay, so now we have our card base. Again, it's my standard card base where it's 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, half of a card sheet. And I have it, a sheet of cardstock. And ooh, Kathy says she's got this set coming to her soon and she should have it by Friday. And Susan says she has, it looks like she says she hasn't used it much yet. No, not that one. She says not that one. I didn't show any other cards tonight. The country card. Well, if you get more detail, tell me what it looked like, because maybe it was one from last week. Okay, so we're going to just fold this on the scored line. Take the bone folder and make a nice crisp set. There we go. And set it aside for now, just to keep it out of trouble, right? Especially since I have all my ink pads open. Let's go ahead and do the inside first, actually. So, oops. Hey, right? Hey, you be quiet, Heather. Especially since I have all my ink pads open. Let's go ahead and do the inside first. No, let's be quiet, Heather. There we go. Okay, so for the inside, we're not going to put a piece in here because it's already white, so it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my early espresso. And the reason I chose to do early espresso instead of the basic black, it's just a little bit softer. And with the colors that I'm using, these kind of muted tones, I thought that the early espresso looked really nice as my outline color. So I'm just going to stamp that right there, just like so. And then I'm going to take that little centerpiece like before, ink it up with the, oh, you know what? Let's do this part first. Silly, silly girl. There we go. We're going to line it up. And you can see right where the outlined image is because you can see through the stamp itself. We're going to line it up. Ta-da! But see how we've got that shading? The stamp does that for us. It's really nice. And now I'm going to stamp that centerpiece just like that. And then I also have, I guess I did have this right. Okay, so I've got this little piece that's going to color these little ones down here. And so for that, I'm using the Pear Pizzazz. So we're going to ink that up and then just line it up with the stamped image. There we go. And you know, with this particular set, if you get out of the lines just a little bit, it still looks great. Okay, oh, I should have kept that open because I'm going to need it again in a minute. Okay, so now let's set the card over here just to keep ourselves from causing any trouble with it. And this piece right here is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I ran it through my cutting and embossing machine with the gingham embossing folder, this one right here. And so now what we're going to do is take this little frame, and I used my framed Florets dies to cut this frame out. The neat thing is when it cuts out the frame, you also get this oval piece too. So I put it away with my scraps to possibly use the oval for something else. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my liquid glue, and I'm just going to put a few dots of it in various strategic places. Not a whole lot, but definitely on these pieces that stand out, the kind of like 12, 6, 3, and 9 o'clock, if that makes sense. Trying not to get too much glue there. And then, you know, just a little bit along these edges here, maybe. Along these edges, just to give it a little bit of extra stick. There we go. And we're just going to center this. Try to center it as best you can right there on that white piece that you ran through your embossing folder. I want to make sure it's straight. It does look a little bit crooked, which again is why I like the liquid glue for things like that, because I can kind of wiggle it around to make sure it's straight. Now I have just this is a scrap of basic white, not any particular size, it's just a scrap. And I'm going to take this, wow, is this even going to fit? Make sure this is, I don't know if that scrap's big enough. Let me get a bigger scrap. Okay, it'll fit on this now. On bigger stamps like this, I tend to like to ink up the stamp like this, where instead of putting the stamp on the pad, I put the pad on the stamp. It's just easier to control and make sure I'm getting the ink where I need it. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp that, press it down well, make sure you get it everywhere. Just like so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm going to put the early espresso one away. And let's go ahead and start with Pear Pizzazz, and we're going to do some of these leaves. You really can see the shading in the leaves. And I'm just going to line it up with my stamped image. That looks good. There we go. And then I'm going to, let's see, what other pieces do we have here? I'm going to move some of these out of the way because we're done with them. Now this piece, this stamp right here is going to do the greenery right up there. So let's go ahead and ink that up. And then line it up. It's not hard to line it up, but it certainly is easier when you've got your head right over it instead of having a camera right over it. There we go. Oopsie, and I did get it off outside the lines a little bit right there. It still looks fine. And then we're going to do, here we go. We're going to put the green away. Oh, put the Pear Pizzazz away. I'm going to pull out my early espresso because I'm going to need it again in a minute. Got my Calypso Coral. I'm not a huge orange fan, but I love this color. I think it is so pretty. Okay, so again, I'm going to line it up. Looks good to me. There we go. See that shading? Isn't that amazing? I love it. Okay. Get my stamp all nice and clean. And then we're going to do the center with the crushed curry. And we're just going to do right there in the middle of the flower. Okay. And since we're stamping, let's go ahead and do the next part, the stamping part anyway. I've got this little tag that I used by Tailored Tags Dies. And I'm going to use the Early Espresso ink to do my sentiment. My sentiment says, if you have it right side up, it's easier to read, by the way. And right side up, it says, sending happy thoughts. And I'm just going to kind of center it in that tag. Ta-da! Okay. Now let's do what we gotta do to start putting this baby together. First, we're gonna fussy cut. We're gonna cut this out. This one, there's a little more to it because of all the different curves and such, but it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and, when you are, especially when you're doing a big one like this, one little tip I can give you is to go ahead and cut off the excess paper. It just gets in the way and makes it a little more complicated to cut it out. Remember, move your paper, not your scissors. And you know, as you're cutting it, there are going to be areas where you're like, oh, that doesn't look right. It's thicker there. You know, the white halo is thicker there than it is in other places. But then you go, okay, well, you know, I'll come back to that and trim it down when I'm done. You get done and you don't even really notice it in the bigger picture. So don't stress when that happens. Just tell yourself, I'll come back to it. Because then if it really does stand out when it's all done, you can go back and trim it down. But chances are it's not even going to stand out, just like you thought it was going to at the time when you were just looking at that tiny little section. Okay. Okay. Doo-dee-doo. Did anybody get flowers yesterday? I kind of thought maybe my dad might do something. My dad, when I was a kid, always did stuff for me. I'm an only child, so I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. But he always got Valentine's Day presents for both me and my mom. And one year, gosh, I was probably 18, and I was working at a customer service center for a bank. So even though I was working for a bank, it was a big, like a call center. So lots of people there. And he had me tutu'd. Any of you guys remember that? When they used to do that, it was a singing telegram thing, and this person came dressed as a gorilla in a tutu and sang me some song. I don't even remember. It had something to do with Valentine's Day, I'm sure, and I was horribly embarrassed because, you know, it happened in front of everybody. But it's such a fun memory to look back on. Susan said she got her husband flowers. I love that, Susan. What kind did you get him? I haven't gotten flowers in a really long time. Like I said, I kind of thought my dad might do something. But my dad, I will say, my dad has been way more than generous helping me out with different things this year. So I will not be complaining about not getting flowers because he has done so many other wonderful things for me this past year. So I'm just trimming around the edges here. We're getting there. It's a big one, so it does take a little while. Oh, assorted colors of roses. Ooh, pretty. You know, one thing that reminds me every year, I can't remember if it's for Valentine's Day or if it's for my mom's birthday. They had this dog named Herschel. And every year for like I said, it was either Valentine's Day or my mom's birthday, Herschel would send her yellow roses. And I think maybe one red one, like 11 yellow and one red. Maybe they were all yellow, but something makes me think there was one red one. Anyway, so even after he died, he continued to send my mom flowers. Isn't that awesome? I have one of those families that our animals are definitely just as much family members as the people are. And, you know, it's not even just my immediate family, me, my mom, and my dad. My uncles are like that. I mean, the whole family, our animals are our babies. So, yeah, so he continued to send flowers even after he passed away. Okay. Oh, I have a very, very cute Lucy story for you guys. You guys who wants to hear a cute Lucy story? Okay, we've almost got this done. Okay, so see, there were areas that as I was cutting it, I thought, oh, it's a little wider there. I want to trim it down. But in the bigger picture, when it was all done, you don't even really notice it. Okay, Marcia, Robin, they want to hear my Lucy story. Okay, so Lucy has this blanket. When we moved into this house, it's this big blanket. Like, it's probably a queen-size blanket. It's not just like a little... Susan says they got a new puppy last week. I'm going to have to hear about that. And I'm just going to glue this down on my frame like that. So let's glue that down. So anyway, Lucy, when we moved in, the blanket had fallen on the floor or something. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a big blanket. It's like queen size and it's a thick blanket. So it's not just this tiny little thing, right? and it must have been on the floor or something, and Lucy adopted it as her own. And so I just said, okay, that's fine, you can have it. And she carts this blanket everywhere. She carts it all over the house at night when, like, if we get up to go to the bathroom during the night or something, she'll grab it, and when she goes to get back into the bed, she'll get up in the bed with this huge blanket. And it's hysterical. Well, anyway, Jackson, my son who lives with me, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take, see, this story's going to take a while because I keep doing this. I have 2 pieces of linen thread, and we're going to do a little double bow here. Get this right. Okay, so anyway, Jackson gets up during the night and watches TV, and he comes and gets Lucy, and she watches with him, and the 2 of them snuggle on the couch. And he would always try to use her blanket to keep himself warm while they're sitting on the couch. And she would always take it off of him, like, that's not your blanket, you're not allowed to use it. Well, now she associates that blanket with snuggling with Jackson, right? So like if he's gone and he comes home, she runs and grabs the blanket and meets him at the door holding this blanket as his sign that he's supposed to come and cuddle with her. So that's really cute. And we thought, okay, that's just adorable. Does it get any cuter than that? Oh my goodness, you guys, it certainly does. Okay, I'm just twisting my little loops here to get them to lay right. Got my little double bow with my tails here. I want them to cut them so that they're the same length. Okay, so anyway, so now what she has started doing when he gets up with her at night and they are, well, anytime, like she'll meet him at the door, you know, bringing the blanket, like, let's go cuddle. And they'll go sit on the couch and she jumps up there with the blanket. She's got it in her mouth and she lays it across him. She covers him with the blanket now. Isn't that adorable? Okay, so I've just got a little glue dot. And because the linen thread is a little bit smaller, I'm going to fold that glue dot in half just so that there's not so much glue sticking out. Kind of just trying to pull my tails down a little bit. And I'm going to put it right there on the back of the knot. Maybe. There we go. And I'm going to put it right over that little hole on my tag so that it covers it up. Okay, and then we're going to use dimensionals. Yes, Marcia, she is adorable. And you know what? Because of it, she gets away with a lot. Okay, there we go. So a couple dimensionals there. And then we're going to put that onto the card. So it kind of looks like maybe it was tied around the flowers. And now we're going to use one of the foam adhesive sheets. It's a half of a sheet. And then what I do, I take that half a sheet and I cut it into 3 strips. When I'm cutting big pieces like this, I find it's just easier with big scissors like this. My snips are fine for the smaller pieces, but these big ones, it's easier when you have bigger scissors. Okay. Now let's get our card back. And we're going to go ahead and just put that on here. Now remember that this adhesive is pretty unforgiving. So be very gentle about laying it down until you know that it's exactly where you want it. Because once it's down, it's not going to come up too easily. So there we go. Oops, you know what? I almost forgot my embellishments. Let's just put a few of these little guys on here. And these are the iridescent pastel gems. They're in the January through April mini catalog. There. Ta-da! And now our card is finished. What do you guys think of that one? Very simple. Okay, clean up my mess and let's get going on card number 3. Take a drink of my water. Okay, and our last card, this one, I cased it, in case you don't know, casing a card. Some people say it stands for copy and steal everything. Some say it's copy and selectively edit. However you want to look at it. Casing a card is when you take someone else's idea and then you kind of tweak it a little bit to make it your own. Whether you change the colors, the stamps, whatever. So that's what I did. This is a card I found on Pinterest and then just kind of tweaked it to make it my own. And I'm using the Desert Details bundle, the suite actually. So I'm using the stamps. These are really fun, pretty. The dies. The designer series paper. Let me show you some of this paper because it's really pretty. You've just got some really pretty sheets. Try to get it so you can see both sides. Even if you don't get the stamps and the dies, the paper is so pretty. And I just like the muted tones. And the paper is called Delicate Desert. And this is available in the January through April mini catalog. I'm also using my Stylish Shapes dies. I want one of the little circles there. You guys ready to see this card? Here it is. Isn't that kind of fun? There's the inside. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll do our envelope first. And this is another one where I just got my 2.5 by 6 inch strip of designer series paper that we're just going to glue onto the flap. Oh, and just a reminder, anybody who places an order of $75 or more between now and the end of celebration, which is the end of February, I will also be, in addition to your celebration gifts, I will be sending you one of my adhesive erasers. Well, not one of mine. Mine are used. I'll send you a brand new one. And I'll send that to you separately. That's not something Stampin' Up! Sells. Those are just something I purchased off of Amazon, and I use mine all the time. So as my special gift to you, I will send you one when you place an order of $75 or more. And for those of you who have recently placed orders, if your order was $75 or more, I will be sending one out to you as well. Okay, so got our envelope done. Let's set that out of the way. Now there's a lot of pieces to this card, but they're really pretty simple. It's not a complicated card, just a lot of pieces. So, standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Okay, so let's scoot that out of the way for the moment. Now, for the inside of the card, I've got a piece here that is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I also have just a little strip here that is 3/8 of an inch wide, and this is probably 6 inches. I don't know. I just made it a little too long, figuring I'll cut off the extra. If you wanted it to be exact, then you'd do 4 inches. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Cajun Craze Ink and get my stamps out here. We're going to be using the 2 flowers and the sentiment. And I'm going to stamp this big old flower with the Cajun Craze. I'm going to stamp it right here in the corner, just like that. I always do this. Why I am cleaning off this stamp, I don't know, because I'm just going to turn around and use the exact same color and stamp it again. What am I thinking? Now I'm going to take my little strip here. We're going to put a little bit of the liquid glue on there. And we're going to do it over the flower right along the bottom. So it looks like the flower is peeking up behind. Woo! It kind of moved on me there. So it looks like it's peeking up behind the strip. And now I have glue all over my fingers. Here's 1, 2. Okay. Let's go ahead and glue this to the inside of our card. That way it's out of the way. Again, just watch your margins. Try to make sure that they're relatively the same. There we go. Isn't that pretty? I love doing that where it looks like the stamped image is just kind of peeking up behind the strip. Okay, so I got some glue there. You can see where it got a little dirty because of my fingers. So I'm going to use my adhesive eraser. This is what I said I'm sending you if you place an order of $75 or more. And it just erases that little blob right off of there. Okay, next I have this. This is just a scrap strip. And then I also have the circle that I die cut with my stylish shapes. Let's go ahead and do the stamping there first, and then we can just put everything together. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment right in the middle of the circle. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp both of the flowers, the big one and the little one. Oops. Now it did that little mark there, but you know what? We're going to be die cutting these anyway, so that's not going to show up. It won't matter. Just cleaning off my stamp real quick here. And then put the ink away. I cannot be trusted with an open ink pad. We all know this. And I have accepted this about myself. Now I'm going to take some of my Post-it tape because I'm going to use it to hold my dies in place. So first I'm going to take this big flower and line it up where I want it. Probably spend way more time analyzing where I'm placing my die than I need to. Anyone else do this where you focus on the things that you really don't need to instead of focusing on the things that you should? Okay, let's see here. Okay, I think we're going to call it good there. Now let's go ahead and get another little strip here because we're going to put the other flower die on here. Line her up. That looks good. Let me grab my cutting and embossing machine. I'm using my little one, and this is the one you can get in your starter kit this month. See how it folds up nicely, and then you just unfold it when you need it. And when you're ready to pack it away, you just fold it right back up again. Got the little plates. And then feed it through. Now I have heard some people say that they have a hard time with the small one, getting it to latch and pull their plates through. You know, when I first started using this, I also did. And I found that if I stand up to do it, sorry about all the wiggling. Yes, Kathy, I miss my magnet plate too. I loved that. Anyway, if I stand up, I don't have any problem with my machine here in feeding through. So I think it had a lot to do with the angle that I was at when I tried to do it sitting. Guess I already had some tape there. Okay, so there's one flower. Put my die away. We've got the other flower here, right there. Okay, let's put the dies away so I don't lose them. Put my machine away. Okay, let's start putting everything together. So I've got a piece here of the Cajun Craze, and it is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And then a piece of the Designer Series paper that's just slightly smaller. It's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, just like that. And we might as well just go ahead and glue that down because we're not, wrapping ribbon around it or anything like that. Watch your margins. Then let's go ahead and put it on our card. Right there. Oh, and by the way, the colors that I'm using here, you've heard me say the Cajun Craze. And then the gray that I'm using is the, let me look. It is the Slate. It is Smokey Slate. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I have a little strip here. This is about 1/4 inch wide, and it is 4 1/4 inches long because I did want it to go all the way from edge to edge on the card. So it's not stopping at the Cajun Craze. It's going all the way from edge to edge of the gray. See, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue that piece down. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and glue that piece down. Little bit of glue, dot, dot, not a lot. And I'm putting it about a little more than 1/3 of the way up, I guess. Just try to make sure you get it straight. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is let's move that out of the way. I have these 3 shapes. There's a die for this. I'll show you here. It's this die right here. And we're just going to go ahead and, I glued these down as I was using them. And I used 3 different patterns of the Designer Series paper. 2 of them are pretty similar in color, but a little bit different. And this one, you can barely see it, but it's a very, very faint green out there, which is why I brought that green strip in. So what we're going to do, I should have done this before I glued it down, but that's okay. It's okay. You know what we can do? Here, I'm going to go like this. So let's do this first one. Just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up like that. Ta-da, like that. So let's glue that down. Whoop, where'd it go? There it went. Just a little bit of glue on that piece because it does like to try to stick up. Oops. So we're going to just make it go right up to the edge of our Designer Series paper. Right there like that. Now I'm going to take the green one, or the one that has a little bit of green in it. Make sure I put a little bit on the edges there. You can put some down here if you like. And then I just line it up. They interlock together. So I just did it like that. And then there's my other one. We're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna line it up, but we're gonna end up trimming some of this one off, which is why I should have done it before I glued my paper down, but that's okay. See how it goes off the edges like that? Now I could leave it if I wanted, but I like the look of it ending at the edge of the designer series paper. So I'm gonna go like that. And then this one. There we go, my scissors were getting in the way there. Whoops, that one's kind of boogery. Boogery is probably the technical term, I'm sure. And then let's get these pieces right here. There. There. Then I'm going to take my Your What Sunshine Feels Like. I'm going to take my bigger rose. I'm going to take my little rose. I'm going to start, let's put a dimensional on the back of that little, well, I don't know if it's a rose, whatever the flower is. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on. I realized after I went to bed that I forgot to take the backs off of this one up at the top. Isn't that funny? Okay, I feel better now. So now what I'm going to do is I've got my dimensionals here. And this is where the top of my sentiment's going to go. So I'm going to put it right about there. But I am going to wait to take the adhesive off the top there because I'm going to be putting that flower down behind it and I want to be able to line it up underneath. I don't want the dimensionals to be in the way as I try to push it down and place it wherever I want it. So a little bit of glue. Let's see, let's put it right about there. Maybe down a little bit further. And now I can take the backs off instead of waking up during the night and realizing that I didn't. There. There we go, just like that. Then we're going to take the little one, let it overlap the circle a little bit and overlap the bigger flower a little bit. So we've got that. Now I've got some baker's twine. This is a pack. I think it's Twine Essentials or something like that. Oh, Susan said the handle keeps falling off of her cutting and embossing machine. Definitely, Susan, call them because Stampin' Up stands behind their products and they will take care of you. So this pack comes with like 5 colors of baker's twine. There's black, white, crumb cake, kind of a just like a brown normal baker's twine color, and then this gray. So I'm going to tie a little bow. I'm doing the same thing as I did on the other card where I've got 2 strings of it so that I could make a double bow. My bow keeps kind of like folding over a little bit funny though, and that hurts my feelings. Okay. And I'm kind of pulling my loops apart just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of body there where the double bow is. And I will trim this, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to trim the tails, but I want to wait until I have it on the card so I can get an idea of where the tails are falling so I know where I want to cut them. So again, I'm taking a little glue dot, kind of let it roll up or fold it in half. And then put it on the back of the knot. And we're going to put it right about there. My bow is just kind of hanging out funny on this one. That bothers me. You know how that kind of stuff bothers me. Pull my tails together so that I can cut them so they're roughly the same length. There we go. And then I have my brushed metallic adhesive backy dots, and we're going to put a few of these on the card. I like these rose gold ones. So let's see, we'll put one there. And then one about there. One about there. And there you have it. So let's put some stuff away. Oops. So here is the final card that we made tonight. What do you guys think of this one? Clean up my mess a little and we'll take a look at everything that we made. If you had fun tonight and you liked what you saw, I would love it if you give me some hearts or thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, definitely hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell. That gives you notifications when I do upload new videos or when I go live. If I'm going live on YouTube, that is. But I always upload this video when we're done. I upload it to YouTube, so definitely subscribe on YouTube. Especially because I am going to be starting to put the list of what I used on that. So you'll want to see that. But let's take a look at the cards that we made tonight. If you could share my video, that does help me a lot. Okay, move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay, so we've got this last card we made. We have this little beauty. Don't forget, you can earn that stamp set for free. And then we've got this guy. So 3 really fun cards tonight. And if you wanted to purchase any of these items or take advantage of Celebration or find out more information about joining Stampin' Up, you can do that on my website, heathersides.stampinup.net. And if you have questions and want to contact me, you can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message here on Facebook. If you do place an order, if your order is under $150, it would help me a lot if you could use that host code. That just helps me continue to provide these videos for free and the prizes and things like that. But if your order is over $150, please don't use the code. You'll have some free rewards coming to you in addition to Celebration rewards. You'll have those free rewards coming. And I want to make sure that you're the one who gets them when your order is over $150. So if you guys don't have any questions, if you do, feel free to contact me. But if you don't, I hope to see you back here next Wednesday. Well, I hope to see you back here even if you do have questions. I hope you guys had a great night tonight. I so enjoy spending my time with you. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye-bye.